it's Stephanie. Welcome back to the cantina. Feel free to sit down, pull up a bar stool, pull up a chair, get yourself a drink, sit down and relax, and feel free to subscribe, hit the bell for more content, hit the like button. We do likes around here, lots of likes, and share away. We share away here for the love of Star Wars. Today's discussion isn't about, it's about Star Wars, but it's about another movie too. And how closely the issue in that movie resembles what's going on with Disney, its canon, and the Phantom Menace. So get ready, settle down, and get ready for the video. Hey guys, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to the cantina. Sit back, pull up a chair, pull up a bar stool, have a drink. Drinks are on me today. We're going to talk a little bit about Ready Player One. I saw it a long time ago, and it I liked it, but it didn't leave one of those impressions on me until I started talking a little bit about it on the Fancast two Fridays ago with Brian Lape and a couple of the other guys. And I want to say it struck me because one of the guys said, and I'll paraphrase what he said because I can't really remember, but this is the gist. It reminded him a lot of what happened, what's been going on with Lucasfilm. So I went back and revisited it. And if you know the story, Ready Player One is about this nerdy kid named Ray Wade Watts, who lives in 2045 Columbus, Ohio, in kind of a rundown, everything's rundown, and he takes part in a game called The Oasis. And The Oasis was created by this super genius guy, this nerdy, frizzy-haired, when I look at Mark Rylance, who played James Holliday, I kind of look at him and go, this is what Mike Zero's going to look like in 40 years. But when he puts the glasses on, he looks like George Lucas. And his voice is that sort of, he's playing the character, Rylance is playing the character distinctly like somebody that we all know. Maybe a lot nerdier than Lucas, but still, there's a shadow of George Lucas in him. If you watch the movie again, you'll see it. And we got Simon Pegg as his partner, Ogden Morrow, who plays two parts. He plays the conservator of records, the archivist, and Ogden Morrow, Simon Pegg does. And he basically kind of helps Wade Watts, aka Z, in the game. He is very much part of the game, even though his character had been bought out of the company by Holiday. Anyway, what happens is there's a company called Iowa or whatever, and the bad guy who runs it is the CEO named Ben Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn plays him, a guy named Sorrento. This is the funny part. This is the weird part. You discover that this guy, and I'm going to give you spoilers right here, actually had worked for Holiday and Morrow as an intern. So he got kind of a flavor for what it was all supposed to be about. Now I'm going to say this. This character doesn't like the Oasis, doesn't like what Holiday built, doesn't appreciate it, doesn't admire him, doesn't have any gratitude for even having the chance to work with this guy. And he basically wants to buy the Oasis not only to grow Iowa into this monopoly, biggest company in the world, but also to destroy it, ultimately. In fact, there's a great line in it when Watts, as Z's hologram, is talking to Sorrento and basically says, a fanboy can see a hater. can tell a hater when he sees one or something like that. And he basically says, you're full of shit, and I know what you're going to do. And that's a pretty powerful thing. I mean, and when I started watching this movie, I started watching Ray Lance's performance. It's an earlier version of George Lucas. But yeah, the guy is somebody who created something independently and then allowed the world to share in it. And this huge monopoly wants to buy it in order to destroy it. And the people that work for this monopoly, they're called Sixers. They go into the game and try to win these keys, because then there's a race, and whoever gets the 3 keys, and there's a gold key, I think, a jade key, and a crystal key. The person who gets the 3 keys wins the Easter egg. And basically the Easter egg allows the person who wins to run the Oasis. And you would rather have a fan do it, wouldn't you, than have an unfeeling, soulless entity who would take away the spirit of this creation just to make it, dumb it down is basically what they would do. The spirit of the creation is to allow the fans, the people playing the game, to really be part of it, to explore, I think, themselves as much as they explore this world that Holiday and Morrow built, mostly Holiday. And it's really kind of fascinating how, whether it was meant to or not to, reflects what's going on with Disney Star Wars right now, and the fact that we've got this dismal new canon. Now there's a big, huge freak out going among the fans, they're showing, you guys know about the Galaxy of Heroes, or those little shorts on Star Wars Kids on YouTube here. They're talking about Leia and her heroism, and she doesn't need anybody to rescue her. Well, yeah, she did. And there's one scene in it where she slams Luke up against the wall on the Death Star. First off, I ask Bob Iger, Kennedy, why do you need to do this? We have the OT. Oh, I know why. Because Kennedy sold the rights to the OT, the prequels, and all the other movies to TNT till 2024, and they're not giving it up. So you guys are doing your best to get people interested in this new stuff because you can't use any of that yet. Which is why you're making Galaxy's Edge all about your shit and not about real Star Wars. Okay, this is what I call the analogy to Ready Player One, regardless of what the novel was about. I think Spielberg did this deliberately too. I really, really do. I think the writer, and I can't remember who wrote the script, Ernest Cline wrote the novel. But I think Spielberg really sort of was taking a jab at Disney and what they did to Lucasfilm and what they did to George Lucas's creation, because I have it on good authority that George Lucas thinks that Disney Star Wars canon is soulless, and he's right. He don't like any of it. Sure, he went on the set of Solo and set up a scene, but big deal. Solo still sucked. Okay, that wasn't a movie he would have written, he would have been part of, nor would he have allowed Alden Ehrenreich within 1,000,000 yards of playing Han Solo. I mean, because the only other person in the world that understands that character probably more than, or as much as George Lucas, is Harrison Ford. And George Lucas cast Harrison Ford as Han Solo, all right? And I know that I think he had some input into Rogue One, which is why Rogue One is a step in the right direction, all right? That was actually, felt like a Star Wars movie, looked like a Star Wars movie, had that grittiness of a real Star Wars movie, in the style. Everything else that Disney's done has been mediocre to shit. Okay, now let's go back to Ready Player One. This is what the fans who are going against IOA and Sorrento and his minions are afraid of. That what they love about this game will be destroyed for something that is not as good, that is watered down, you know, that won't be what they want, and they're the customers. They're also the game players. And basically Z and his friends, Artemis, H, and a couple other guys, what they do is they start a rebellion. And it's really interesting. They end up winning. They end up basically Z, aka Wade, ends up winning. And at the very end, he basically can run the Oasis. So what he does is he lets the Oasis be the Oasis so people can go and have fun, you know, earn their coins and everything like that. But on two days a week, he shuts it down so people can spend time and, you know, doing what people should be doing, which is interacting in reality. But I want to say this. This is a deeper film than what a movie is usually. It is something that touches on the very fabric of what I think Star Wars fans, the fandom menace, the fandom collective are doing, what we're angry about, what we don't like about what Disney's doing, the soullessness, as George Lucas said, the artificiality, the retconning of characters to destroy, basically, who and what they are and what they symbolize out of a sense of currentness and relevancy, where the thing that made Star Wars and makes it such a great cultural masterpiece is its timelessness. And this is why we stand on the precipice of boycotting the hell out of Episode 9. I mean, we are those guys are, you know, in the avatars in the game, basically telling Disney, aka Sorrento and IOA, that we're not going to take it anymore. And it's, you know, Holiday said, why can't we go backwards just as fast as we can? And that was a very touching moment. It was a very sad moment because in the movie, he had a chance to be happy with a woman and he didn't take that chance. I can imagine George Lucas wishes he could go back and not have sold Lucasfilm to Disney. Would Disney be facing an onslaught of accusations, acrimony, and a backlash? No. No, they wouldn't. Would Lucasfilm just keep churning out good stuff like Clone Wars? Maybe they would have done something with Rebels. Maybe Lucas would have said, you know what, I want to do my sequel trilogy. And he would have done it himself. Maybe. Would we have liked it? Well, you know, you've got the people who I actually think really kind of inadvertently brought all this shit on, the prequel haters, who would have been complaining and bitching and moaning because somehow, in their view, anything that George Lucas touched after the OT was bad, which is absolutely stupid. That is so stupid I can't even describe how stupid it is, okay? It really, really is. But it would have been his sequel trilogy, okay? It would have, you know, we would have found out what happened to, you know, Darth Vader's grandchildren, you know? And that would have been a lot of fun, I think, to find out what happened to Vader's grandchildren. What happened to Anakin's grandchildren? What happened to Padme's grandchildren? What happened to Han and Leia's kids? What happened to, you know, if Luke had any kids? All right? You know, and I'm going to say this. Would he have followed the EU? I don't know. I would have hoped he would have, or at least given us a flavor of something like that. But because we can't see the script treatments that he wrote and had out and the stories that he wanted to tell, we'll never know. Because trust me, Disney will never let us see that. I mean, unless Bob Iger feels magnanimous and sort of, please forgive us, we'll show you what he wanted to do to the fans, for the fans, we'll never get to see him. And after what Disney tried to do to Star Wars Theory and his Vader fan film, let me tell you, they're not, corporate entities, soulless corporate entities like Disney, are not magnanimous, okay? They really are a monopoly. I mean, once the Fox deal goes through, you know, we'll see what's going on. We'll see, but you know, we're not going to see what Lucas wanted to do, and that's too bad because that would have been his ideas, and he created Star Wars. Bob Iger didn't. Kathleen Kennedy, in her Sorrento Light role as head of Lucasfilm, has done everything she could to ruin and trash Star Wars. You know, they've even got Mark Hamill basically pushing this toxic feminist stuff on Twitter. It's like, Mark, stop it. I'm gonna, you know, and this is the thing I think that really bothers everybody who grew up with Star Wars, who loves it, who wants to give their kids a sense, that sense of adventure and optimism that George Lucas gave us. You cannot uplift women while bashing men. Okay? You can't. And ultimately, I think that's one of the reasons why Star Wars, with Disney and Kathleen Kennedy's scrungy, icky little finger marks all over, has failed so miserably. You know, you go to TFA, and I'm not going to say Rey was a Mary Sue on that one because, you know, in that last lightsaber fight, again, you guys forget, Kylo Ren was wounded badly by Chewbacca. And, you know, Rey and Finn both got lucky. I mean, that was the whole thing. The problem with her in TFA is that she was talented in everything. And that's not how you build a character. Luke, you know, in A New Hope was only talented as a pilot, remember? That's it. And Han said, you know, basically, you're pretty good at the blaster. So, you know, and growing up on the frontier on Tatooine, you know, you learn how to use a blaster. And of course, he, you know, chased Womp-Rats around in his, you know, thing, in the vehicle he piloted. You know, but that was it. He wasn't a Mary Sue. When you make a character, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, multi-talented in everything, but not quite a Mary Sue. People are still going to call her or him a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu. Okay? Yeah, stop doing that. This is Star Wars. It's a walk through, it's a path to adulthood. It's the hero's journey, not the MCU. Okay? You know, and that's another reason why, you know, that's a reason why the fans are pissed off. And you can't bash the OT characters. You know, Han is a deadbeat dad. Luke is a bitter coward. Leia is a bitter, resentful, angry woman. You know, they were, you know, at least in the EU, they were grown-ups. Leia accepted her Skywalker heritage. She grew to admire Anakin to the point where she and Han named their third son Anakin. Okay? There's something profoundly adult about that. These books were written by adults to tell stories about how these characters that we met in the OT grew into wiser adults that were able to mentor the next generation. Okay? Now we've got, I don't know. But again, we're standing on the cliff looking at Disney saying, we're coming after you. All right? And that's it. Ultimately, when you watch Ready Player One and think about what's going on with the Star Wars universe and Disney, you're going to see a lot of parallels. So I want to kind of talk about that because it was such a great movie. And it was a lot, I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch. And the pop culture references are awesome. I mean, at one point, Anorak, who's the avatar of James Holiday, calls Wade Watts, aka Z, Padawan. In another scene, Sorrento offers Wade, aka Z, like millions and millions of dollars, a penthouse, and ownership of the Millennium Falcon. So there are references to Star Wars. And I do see what looks like a C-3PO avatar in one scene. So there are references to Star Wars. And I really do believe the holiday in this movie is analogous to George Lucas and the company he built, Lucasfilm, and Star Wars, the universe, the world that he built around Star Wars. And I can't get over the similar situation that Lucasfilm is going through right now, and what the situation is with the Oasis Holidays creation and the fans fighting for it in Ready Player One. I mean, I really, really can't. So you guys got to see it if you haven't seen it. If you have, let me know in the comments what you think. You know, I think it's a great movie. I really do need to get the novel so I can read it to see what was left out and what they changed. Since the movie came out in 2018, it's sort of is interesting timing. And it speaks to the soullessness, I think, of the culture right now. And especially in the Disney canon and in Disney Star Wars, and what Disney has done to Lucasfilm and allowed to have happen underneath Kathleen Kennedy, under her leadership. We do see changes going on there, but there has to be more. So let me know in the comments what you think. Feel free to hit up the Wookiees for another drink or two. Tip them well. Stay away. Don't start anything in the bar. Once the bouncers start going, I can't control a Wookiee. And if you see Solo around, tell him to pay his tab. The staff's signing out. See you on the Galaxy. See you around the kingdom. Hey, it's Stephanie. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to subscribe. If you haven't, hit the bell for more content. Hit the like button before you leave, and share away here. We share away here for love of Star Wars. And I'll see you around the cantina, and I'll see you around the Galaxy. Remember to tip the Wookiee bartenders. Steer clear of the bouncers. Wookiees are tough to control. And if you see Solo around, tell him he has to pay his bar tab. Okay? So, I'll see you later.